Good late evening, peoples. Let's jump into Rex shares for their four funds: NVII, TSII, MSII, and COII. So basically, let's jump in and just look at those results. So for MSII, the MicroStrategy underlying, their current distribution is 0.0815, and that, sorry about that, guys, it's 0.0879. Why did I get that wrong? Okay. And 0.1341 for the Coinbase underlying, and 0.3084 for the NVIDIA underlying, and 0.4191 for the Tesla underlying. So on those funds, did they go up or did they go down? Well, let's take a look at the previous ones. And let's see what the data tells us. All right, well, it's pretty clear that most all of them went up. So let's take the MSII. That actually was, this is where I made my mistake for the 0.0815. So that in fact went up 5.94%. It has a current yield of 34.72 versus 28.78 last week. Okay. And how about COI? Last week had a 0.1277 for 28.99. And this week had 1341, which is a 33.33. And let's look at NVIDIA. Last week had a 0.2861. This week, as I mentioned, 0.3084. So that went up 8.07% week to week on an annualized yield for those payouts. And finally, on TSII, it actually went down a hair, 0.41. So 0.4198 last week, 0.4191, 7/10 of a cent, but it had a higher yield. That means the price went down a little bit. Okay, so we see there, I'll come back to the winners here summarized. So let's dive in here and look and see what we see. So again, not relevant, a couple of Mays and a bunch of 219. So I disregard that data and I look at only, we don't need the underlying here. We all start them on 5/8. So we have the Round Hill, we have the Granite, we have the Yield Max, and we have the Rex. And the winner is NVII from Rex, and not too far behind. 12% sounds like a lot, but they're certainly outpaced these guys. Nobody did horribly, but NVIDIA's done pretty well. Recently, it's pulled back, but then we just had a bounce here on Monday. So anyway, 73 and 72, these guys, that's really a tie. This is a win for Rex. All right, let's look at the TSII underlying or Tesla underlying. And in that fund, we have TSLW. All right. Again, we ignore the unlike dates and move everybody to 6/4. And here, well, you guessed it, Rex wins pretty substantially. Second place was closer, but not really in the running in comparison. 67% from Curve. And Curve does that by having an excellent nav. But look at this. We had an even better nav there. This was red. Let's change that. Okay. So 67, that's really close. I'll call that a tie for second place. Not that that really gets you anything. And coming up last was Granite. All right, so 102. So that's 2 wins for Rex. And that's what you see down here. You see Tesla and you know, the TSII and the NVII for an underlying of Tesla and NVIDIA, right? So now we're going to have a couple of bitwise wins. So Round Hill was left out of this, although it was in the running in most all of them. So as you can imagine, the win didn't feel like a win in MSII or really any of the funds because MicroStrategy has been really a poor performer. You see that with the 32% retrace. So again, we go to 6.4 and then Round Hill has to do it 724. And so the winner is IMST again, bitwise with those big payments because they certainly had a huge loss. So did a lot of people. So did Misty. Um, but they won by way of being, when you have four ugly sisters, which one is really the ugliest? Well, they're all ugly, just maybe one less ugly than the other. And that's what you have here. All in the red, all bad, poor performer in the underlying, but you were 8 points better than Misty, right? You only lost 18.84 instead of 26. All right. So I mean, it's a win. So you still have to call it a win. It's just ugly, right? Everyone, people say, that's an ugly win. Well, that was an ugly win. All right. So Coinbase, what are we showing here for Coinbase? Well, we've got total return on Rex. Okay. Again, uneven, right? A bunch of fives and a four. So June, this one, it looks like COIW is going to win this one. But we didn't have, something might have been wrong with my ICOI numbers. I'm not sure. But when we take into account from 6.4 on, and then what's not fair is poor Granite didn't start till 729. So later I'll move everybody to 729, but for now it doesn't make much sense. It's a short enough time period with 160 days. So I got everybody on 6.4. So the two big companies, it didn't really matter. They performed so poorly with 90% down on the NAV decay annualized, right, from that. But you had another Bitwise win with those big payments. Look at this. I got to give kudos to Roundhill. They only went down, but then look at Rex. Rex only went down 26%, but it just didn't pay enough. 50% payout, $5.47 since June on the Rex shares. It's had nice payments. It just $1.05, $1.66, but we start to get into the ones that count. All right. And now they've really gone down. Um, okay. So looking at this one has to go to Bitwise. Look at this massive payout, $26, which contributed to its price 247% when annualized. A real 108. They're only at 27.48 and they've paid out. But again, they've declined pretty significantly, $53 to 27.48. I don't know. Let me take a look at this. F53 divided by C53. Oh, I see. I'm not getting current price there. That's a problem. Oh, no, I am. Okay. All right. It all looks good. When you're moving these dates around, it's so many recalculations. If that's all I did was just track it this way, it would be fine. But when I put all the data in here, I make mistakes. I did that earlier in one of the other comparisons where I copied something wrong. All right, so that appears to be the case, and that's another bitwise, but at least a second place. So you had Roundhill coming in second place twice, but that's not good enough. So you had two bitwise wins and two Rex wins. Rex is doing it on both sides. Nav stopping the nav erosion and in the payout, and bitwise is just paying out a hell of a lot, to be honest. I mean, 247%. You get 2688. That's massive. So that's U to Z. And when you have a $9 payout and a $5 payout and almost another $5 payout, it's a lot. Drop to 3935, and then we'll have another one in November in about 2 more weeks. All right, guys, so that's what I got. That's your summary. Um, Bitwise is scoring well. Jeff Park's doing a good job there. And the two Rex funds, Rex seems, but I think now Rex has some new funds, guys. I need to get those out, but it'll be a little early for comparison funds that they have. Let me look that up right now because I know you guys are probably familiar with it. Rex ETFs. And I'll start adding that stuff in there. I'm looking on my other monitor here. Yep, new distribution rates coming soon. They have a Hood, they have a Palantir, they have a Core Weave, they have a Lilly, Eli Lilly, and it looks like a Walmart. So that should be pretty aggressive, guys. Not too many funds that others have except for the Hood and Palantir. So awesome. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Have a good one, people. Bye for now.